I think of retail as being a portal to the consumer supply chain. And all of us are customers, right? And the current format, I think Marta did a really good job about talking about future formats and new entries, because I think that's what's critical. I will say that Heitman as an investor is a traditional value-added investor. Investing in new formats and speculating on new entrants is more of an opportunistic investment style. Certainly something that developers need to be examining. I'm a retail skeptic. You know, you have to prove it to me that it can work, and I agree 100% with the cut and paste methodology that's been in place here. And if you go to 9 out of 10 centers throughout Poland, you might not know which one you were actually in because it's all the same tenants, it's generally the same layouts, it's generally the same food court. And I'm a skeptic that that's going to continue to work in the future. So Heitman, unfortunately, is not a pioneer in seeking out new formats, but I believe there's going to be a massive paradigm shift in retail. And you're already seeing it in the logistics sector, where retail demand is now being taken over by logistics occupiers. I mean, everybody knows Amazon, certainly in the logistics sector in Poland. People really know that Amazon has chosen to base their regional headquarters here because it's close to the consumers, like next day delivery. And if we're consumers just trying to enter that portal for goods, why should I get in my car and spend money on gas and try to find a parking place and push my way through Blue City, for example, if there's not some compelling reason to do so?
And in terms of your thinking, what's the kind of what kind of time horizon do you see for that?
Well, like all paradigm shifts, you don't know them until they've happened, right? So we think about the tech boom and then the tech wreck, we called it in the US in 2000, yeah? And now you could say the rise of Apple, if you will. And, you know, people might have anticipated some of that, but, you know, we only knew that smartphones were going to be the de facto choice of communication after they were the de facto choice of communication. I got to believe it's a longer-term event, and I think you have to invest in retail as if you're going to own it forever. And I think the problem with funds like Heitman, and I'd be curious what Invesco thinks, is that we are custodians for capital for a limited period of time. We're typically given money by pension funds. We're mandated to invest it, deliver returns, and then pay them back within sort of a 5-year period. And that's not ideal kind of capital for retail, because I think it's changing. It's changing how fast we'll see, but I think you have to be willing to look beyond current trends, and I think Marta pointed us in some of the directions.
That's exactly what David said. That typically 5-6 year horizon is an optimal one. Obviously, we have money from German pension funds eager to invest for a longer period of time. However, everything is cash flow driven, and the problem in Poland we have that if you're buying a shopping center, your weighted average lease term is usually 5, maybe maximum 6 years if you have a couple of nice anchors, because usually they have break options or different forms of lease terminations. Whereas if you're buying something in France or in UK, your average lease term can be 15 or 18 years. And that's a completely different story. No investor would invest in Poland for a period of, let's say, 10 or more years, because that's too risky. That's too risky, simply.
Okay. And you've recently opened an office in Warsaw. Does that mean that you're particularly looking at the Polish market, or are you using this as a base to then expand further into other CEE markets? What's the strategy?
No, we've been acting in Poland for more than 10 years right now. It was covered from our Prague office so far. Our first acquisition was a regional acquisition. We bought Euromarket in Kraków in 2002, so quite a long time ago. So it's not that Invesco is a new player to the market, it's just a matter that they didn't have a seed office here in Warsaw, and that has changed right now because of the volume of the investments we have.
Okay, and is that following investor demand? Is that following the capital coming in?
Yes, we have, let's say, European-wise, we have allocations to different countries, and Poland is one of the important country on our radar. It accounts to 12% of the overall European allocation, so we are a pretty important player. And that's why there are different investors from Invesco Group looking at different products in Poland, but not necessarily retail. It doesn't have to be retail, it could be as well logistics or office sector.